press record. Yay, here we go. So I've had a couple of questions asked. And Robin, would you like to ask those questions so that everybody can hear them?
Sure, if you'd like to start right off with that. One question is, what do you do if when we've done the centering and we start expanding out, there's an area that lags behind or we're not connected with or aware of, and it just doesn't seem to go out that way?
Well, and for me, I have found that that's behind me specifically. And so if you're having that problem where, it's like, I can't expand behind me, there's a couple of tricks that I do. The first is if I feel resistance, and this is just me because, I'm meaner than most. Okay, maybe I'm not meaner, I'm more determined. I will energetically push. Have you guys ever had those flying dreams where you push against the ground with your will in front? If you've ever had one of those flying dreams, you know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing, only it's out the back, and it's like, so I'm pushing past any resistance energetically. The other thing that you can do that I have also done, because finding or being able to see behind you is a little harder when your eyes are facing forwards. But I have also taken my inside eyes or my inner awareness and I focused it behind me so that I can energetically move out behind me. I can energetically feel to the left, I can energetically feel to the right, and I can energetically push down to the bottom, or for me, front, sides, and top are easier. Below me and behind me, I sometimes forget to do. And so when you hear me say that, that's what I'm doing. Is like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. And other questions?
One just came in on the chat line. Have you sent out the recordings for the earlier sessions? This person did not receive them.
Thank you. No, I have not sent them out. I sent them to my assistant and I haven't seen a copy of them yet. I don't know. I know that my assistant, that my team also works for somebody else that is, and they're in the middle of a launch. So they may actually be swamped. If it hasn't been done by this evening, I will do it myself. So I also, by the way, and you can, just so you know, you can actually go onto YouTube and do a search, because I posted day 1 and day 2 there today. So that's one way you can also get the get the replays of day 1 and day 2, and I will post them all on YouTube as well. And then they'll be in Dropbox so that you can access them there, and that way you can download them so you have them for your own library. Yay! I'm learning this. I'm learning this. I am determined to learn this. So awesome. Other questions?
And another question was about what we're actually doing with the clearings. Yesterday we asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And some of them were things like, there were a lot of words, recognizing the interference, for example. Mm-hmm. And then we would put that in the dumpster. But there was also what felt like useful information, like, what can we do about it, sort of information. Mm-hmm. And we threw that in the dumpster too.
And what all are we clearing? What are we all throwing away here? That's a great question. Those are great questions. So everything that goes in the dumpster is whatever you would like to throw away. Even though we're asking really good questions about, things that may feel negative, and those are easier to put in the dumpster because it's like, get away from me. But the positive things can also have a charge. And so what we don't want is a charge, an attachment to anything. Because that's how polarity sucks us in. That's how we get kind of hijacked emotionally, because when there's a charge, good or bad, right or wrong, positive or negative, terminology. I love terminology. it can kind of hijack us in. So the intention is that the information that we receive, any attachment to it is also being cleared. So it's like having education or wisdom. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And so as we're downloading the positive frequencies, they become a part of us. As we download the understanding, the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding of how to fend off the attacks or attackers, how to stand in our true purpose and power, that becomes part of who we are. And so we're not getting rid of that. What we're getting rid of is a belief that in some way, for example, the belief that we're being attacked, or the belief that we are vulnerable to attack. And so as you keep the knowledge, as you keep the wisdom, as you keep the body information, the rest of it can be cleared. But the attachment, or the anything that we're defending for or defending against, what we've aligned with or reacted to, anything that we're righteous for or righteous against, all of those things are polarities. And in that polarity, we are being manipulated, because if we're defending for something, we're also drawing in the opposite. So what we're clearing is the attachment. It's like we're clearing the attachment to any kind of polarity, even positive polarity, because if you're really righteous for something that should be really good, it's also sucking in that negativity. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That's helpful. You're still pushing against.
Yeah.
And Teresa wrote in, we should stay in neutrality.
Exactly. It's that neutrality. And what's interesting is what I also heard in my head. I was just talking about neutrality. It's like, yeah, but what if I feel really happy? Am I also sucking in, something unhappy? If I'm feeling joy, am I also sucking in something else? Those positive frequencies are human, are our natural state. They are who we are as these creator beings. And so my sense is that those particular human emotions aren't necessarily polarized. It's where we get kind of hijacked when we're feeling a certain way specifically for something. Does that make sense at all? Am I just talking in circles? Tell me if I'm crazy.
Makes sense.
No, tell me if I'm crazy. Oh yeah, it's okay.
Connie wrote in, when you throw it in the dumpster, you're saying that I don't know, or I don't know the real truth, good or bad. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And as
a
creator being, you can always pull it out of the dumpster if you want. Does that make sense?
Diana wrote in, is the belief cleared fully upon listening once, or do we listen many times to clear all the layers?
That is a great question. It depends on you individually. And honestly, sometimes, even I'll sometimes listen to things that I've done in the past because the information in there was really good, whether, I'm the leader of the group or a listener. I'll go back and listen because I also get more information and deeper information. And things that it's like, I swear we didn't even talk about that the first time. So it's like, what? So I'll go back and listen simply because there's more information the second time and it goes deeper, way deeper. So you can listen to it only once. It doesn't matter, but it's up to you. That's what I found in.
What if you don't feel anything? What does that mean?
That's another really great question. Some people process information differently. They may see it, they may hear it. It may come as a different type of sensation. So is there a person that asked that particular question? Because I'd like to talk to them.
Yeah, would you like to unmute yourself? Or I can unmute you.
Michelle?
Yes. Hi, Santa.
Hi. It's me. I don't feel anything. So does that mean I'm not neutrality or am I in neutrality because I don't feel it? Or
Neither.
am I so numb?
So here's my question. What are you experiencing? Just
Nothing.
nothing?
Nothing.
Do you see or hear? How do you normally
No.
receive information?
I can hear, I can see, I can sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're about the three things. I'm trying to remember what the other senses are.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a feeling, kind of like I know.
That's a knowingness.
Yeah, and sometimes I hear things for whatever it's worth as they take me off to the insane asylum. But
Right? I hear
yeah,
voices.
like
I know.
I can't tell anybody. So to me, it's always more like a knowing. Like what I hear, I believe. Doesn't mean that I believe everything that I hear. I kind of have to scrutinize it. I have to feel comfortable with it, and I feel it inside of me.
Yeah.
If I feel comfortable with what I'm feeling, then I will believe it. I don't believe everything because my situation. I've got things coming from all over the place.
Oh yeah. So for you, it's not necessarily a feeling, it's a knowingness.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's what the problem is that because you're doing the download, I don't feel anything. You say, do you feel that? And I'm like, I don't feel anything.
Not really. But is there a knowingness of information?
No, not at that point in time.
Okay.
And maybe just the downloads are happening in the background and I'm not aware of it.
It could very well be.
I mean, I've been working with you for a long time and I've always had this situation. It's not new. I never complained. It's just because you're talking about it.
Right.
Stay in neutrality. So I guess whatever you're downloading or whatever you're feeling is really not neutrality.
Correct. Well, correct. Absolutely correct. Oftentimes what we're feeling is a feeling that feels heavy or something that feels uncomfortable. That is, it's that, kind of a sense. If you don't feel anything, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not receiving information. It may be that you're unaware of receiving it.
Right. I'm just not aware of receiving it.
Right.
And the other thing I guess that I'm asking is at what point do I know what I received? Or is it just of, okay, tomorrow I get up and because I received something the prior day, I'm doing something different and don't realize it?
That is often our outer reality will show up, especially if you don't have really strong senses of feeling things, but it's observing how your day is different. It's observing how things work differently. Does that make sense?
Yes. But my situation, I just got a lot going on all over.
Yeah, you do. You do. And we will continue to work with
maybe I'm
that.
just numb.
Well, it could be that you're overwhelmed, and we do
true.
tend to shut down emotionally when we're in overwhelm, when there's just so much coming at us. Been there, done that. And it is uncomfortable. It's like, can we just make this stop? And sometimes we do. We end up, kind of not, or choosing not to feel because we honestly are just, it's too big. Do you remember your human design, your emotional authority?
Yeah. What emotion? You mean what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Emotional authority. I can't remember what it is. No.
Let me just...
What does that mean? Why are you asking about that?
Well, because people process information differently, depending on their emotional authority. So some people, like me, who are projectors, we have what's called splenic, well, not everybody, but I have splenic authority. So meaning that for me, it's that instantaneous knowingness. It's that flash of insight.
Manifesting generator, and you told me that I have to run it through my system a couple of times before I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's the emotional authority.
Yeah, it's that emotional solar plexus. I just pulled your chart real quick. And it is that, no, that isn't, no, not the emotional solar plexus. For you, it is allowing the emotions to come in. And just let me look at one other thing real quick. Oh, but you also have that splenic activated. And we can talk about this more, but many people have that sacral authority. They have a sacral awareness. And so information comes in, but they have to be asked a question. And this is really actually a great topic. So if you have what's called sacral authority, you literally have to be asked a question. And it's that response, and then your body can feel.
Okay.
And you have the emotion. You've got three. You've actually got four. No, you've got three of the motors in the body activated. So you have the emotional authority, you have the sacral, and you also have the splenic. And so what is fascinating is you have an instantaneous awareness, and you also have the emotions that kind of go up and down. And like many emotional authorities, because it can feel overwhelming, it's like you shut them off so that you don't get swamped. And then you rely on other.
Function on a day-to-day basis, I guess, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Huge. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking. Huge. We've got other questions, don't we?
Yeah, will you be letting people know when you're doing more work with the human design clearings?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact,
it won't be in this week, but
no, definitely not this week. But I actually am going to do another human design class in just a couple of weeks. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody else has asked questions. There's a new show called Evil on TV tomorrow. Awesome. Can't wait. There's going to be some activation work to get us caught into the matrix. Awesome.
Robert wrote in about his experience with entities he's met, if you want to scroll up to that.
Let's see.
Having
met both good and bad entities, it's difficult to discard the golden watchers, my term for what I experienced. So, Robert, you want to unmute for a second because I want to talk about this. This is good information for everybody.
Okay.
So, tell me the difference for you.
Well, my first experience with this was at a workshop called Omne. It opens portals in the body to release stuck energies. And during one of these sessions, I saw this person's body covered with, for lack of a better term, I call them like dark energy shingles, like on a roof. I started throwing them off. I had that sense these need to be taken off. I started flicking them off with my fingertips, internally, of course. And the circle, he shared that he felt like someone was opening his curtains on his windows and letting the light in again. That was the first time. And then
actually, before you stop for just one second, everything that this is brought up for people, let's just put it in the field because there's stuff. Yeah, there's stuff here.
I take it for granted. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Just keep going. So, but what for you? What's the difference between the Golden Watchers and otherwise?
Well, that's I met the Golden Watchers for the first time. I was working at a friend's house doing some landscaping, getting ready to go home, and I heard a rustling. So I pay attention when I hear things. So I went to look, and there was a snake stuck in a planter container trying to crawl through the hole. It got stuck. So I'm thinking, I got to save this snake. I didn't think anything else. I just need to save this snake. I called the homeowner. She laughed, saying, "You're afraid of a snake? I thought you loved snakes." I told her, "No, I need to hold the snake while you cut it free from the plastic. Cut the plastic so it can get loose. I'll hold the snake. Don't worry about it." So I calmed the snake, did the whole bit. And while we were doing that, these golden specks appeared in the air. Like they came out of another dimension. That's my experience of it, because I'd never seen them before, haven't seen them since. And I asked, well, what are you guys? And I got in a deep voice, but soft and deep. We are the Watchers. Okay, cool. So everything ended. The snake crawls off. Some of these golden specks go with the snake. Some go with the woman. Some go up into the air. So I ask questions. The one's going with the snake to make sure the snake's okay. The one's going up into the air to record this in some library. I now know it was called the Akashic Record.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third was to calm down this lady. She was freaking out big time because I'm sitting there holding a snake and she's like inches away, freaking out. I'm just going about, I'm heading home. And as I'm going to a freeway overpass, people are going to freak out on this one, I have a feeling. So you might want to cover your ears if you're freaked out easily on.
Keep going, just keep going.
I'm heading to this overpass, and all of a sudden the front end of my pickup truck collapses. This doesn't happen. And I have no steering. And I had seen this image before in the early 70s watching that Kung Fu TV series with David Carradine. And Master Po said, I have to be at this festival because that's where he dies. I thought, and I asked in deep meditation, when could I see my death? And I saw it. I was not driving at that time, but I saw myself in a white vehicle. The first vehicle I got was a white pickup truck after I got my license back. A longer story. But anyway, I'm heading off this overpass. I take my hands off the wheel and say, I'm supposed to die. Cool. I'm ready. I don't care. I'll go. I was still in pain from arthritis, struggling. And all of a sudden, the truck steered, went down the freeway ramp to the side of the road, hands off the wheel. I said, what the fuck? And this voice came back, the same one that said, we're Watchers, and said, your life has been extended because you saved a creature of the realm. I've never heard that voice since. I've never
Very
heard that
interesting.
voice
since. So we do have helpers. We do, and thank you for sharing that. We definitely, and I'm going to mute you again. We definitely have helpers. There are the good guys that are here to help. And when we step into service, when we trust that inner authority, when we trust those instincts to do the right thing, I believe we're supported. And at the end of today, I'm going to share a frequency with you that I received this morning that was pretty life-changing for me. We've been talking about the matrix. We've been talking about, these beings and entities and what is the matrix? And I want to talk about that for just a little bit. The movie The Matrix was kind of a primer for all of this, the series, and there's a new one coming out in the next year or so. But The Matrix is this design that we end up kind of being caught in. And the Matrix is almost like an artificial intelligence. It's the framework that is often full of old, nasty programs, collective programming from humanity over the centuries, over eons of time. It can be easily manipulated by dark force energies, by alien energies, by those that are not necessarily the good guys. And that matrix is what we end up being. How do I want to say this? It's how we get caught up. It's how we actually get kind of hijacked. And you can tell when you're in the matrix because things aren't working. Literally, they're not working for you, for your electronics, for whatever it is. But it's when things get really hard. It's when you're struggling. That's when you know you are caught up in that matrix because it's designed to keep you struggling. And so the work that we've been doing is to help you detach and step away from the matrix in a way that allows you your freedom. It allows you to play a completely different game than what we have been programmed to play. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes more sense than otherwise. Any other questions that you want or that you have here before we move on?
I think that's everything.
Okay. I think what I will do also is post at the end of this session, and if you'll remind me, Robin, I will post the links in YouTube for the replays, so that if you want to watch them before you actually get the email, you can do that.
Actually just did a search on your name and they showed up.
Oh, awesome.
The third and fourth ones. Day 1, clearing the matrix. Day 2, clearing the matrix.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Yay! So just search my name, Michelle Manning Kogler. Okay, let's drop in. Let's get to work. Let's play. Let's play, and let's just begin more of this. We're gonna unplug a little bit more from that frequency of helplessness and hopelessness and despair today. There's more. So drop in. Let's just drop into our authentic, biological, symbiotic body. There you go. And connect with the authentic, symbiotic, biological planet. That amazing, nurturing, primal planet. It's here to support and nurture and embrace you. And as you connect within yourself, find the edges of your energy field and expand out bigger than the planet. And make sure that you're still centered in that authentic body and being, so that you are grounded and present. That way you won't get maybe a spacey. There we go. So connected into the body, expand your energy field out bigger than the planet. And anything that's in the way of that, expand out behind you. There you go. Give the intention that your energy field is moving and expanding behind you. And now underneath, below you, all the way down. And then above, all the way above you, to the left, and to the right, and now out in front. Deep breath in. And then expand out as your energy field continues to expand. Expand out bigger than the solar system. Imagine yourself and the planet in the middle of the solar system. And expand out behind you, 360 degrees, just like you're in a big, huge bubble. And below you, above, out in front, to the left, to the right. And anything that feels heavy, that feels like a barrier, as your energy field touches it, give the intention that it just gets immediately shoved into that big blue cosmic dumpster, or just cleared. Just clear it. Flash burn it out of existence. There you go. Flash burn it out of the way. There you go. It reminds me of an old game, an old video game that I had for my kids, and it's like, and it just clears all those little blockages right out. It just disintegrates them. Alien invaders or space invaders or something, I don't know. And then as you reach the edges of the solar system, expand out exponentially out throughout the universe, bigger than the universe. And as you reach the edges of the universe, as you look out, whoa, there's the multiverse, trillions of universes, of which ours is one. And expand out bigger than the multiverse. And again, anything in the way, just disintegrate it. Send it into that containment field, that big blue cosmic dumpster. Let's recycle the energy into something like a field of flowers, something nurturing. As you reach the edges of the multiverse, expand out double that. Go out into beyond the beyond, beyond the verses. And expand out greater than the infinite realms. And then turn your attention inwards and expand through your entire infinite being, that infinite creator being that has now expanded out throughout all of creation. And expand through your infinite being's infinite realms. And then connect with the infinite planet. Nice, 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 nice. And everything that was in that containment field, let's just clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and or sterilize it all out of existence. There we go. So I want to bring up that the essence of helplessness, hopelessness, despair, that frequency of struggle. Now, oftentimes when we're in that essence of helplessness and hopelessness, it's because part of us has fractured off. Sometimes in trauma, you can feel parts of you dissolving. You can feel parts of you will send parts of us away for safekeeping. But you often, and I went through this, when my marriage started really unraveling, and I could feel something inside of me shatter. And I went around saying, I feel like I'm shattered for the longest time. And what I realized, and especially from the work that I had been doing for years, is there literally were shards, there were pieces and parts and particles of me that had broken apart because the pain inside was so big and I didn't know what to do with it. And oftentimes when we have something that's so painful, parts of us do shatter off, and parts of us end up in fractures. And sometimes those fractures can be so big that there's a fracture within a fracture within a fracture, or a part within a part within a part. And then we create all of these barriers, these walls, these ceilings, these floors, these structures to keep that part of us safe and walled off so that we don't have to feel the hurt. And so as we go through and we begin to recover all of us and to step into our beingness, those pieces, parts, and particles that have kind of gotten shattered away need to be reclaimed. We also, the other way that we end up being compartmentalized is we'll give parts of ourselves away, or parts of us have been taken in relationship. I give myself to you. That's a huge way to give away a part of yourself. And we think that we're doing it for something good, for something positive. But that's also part of the manipulation. And so what I want to do today is give the intention to retrieve as many of these pieces and parts. And as we do this work, you may also, just as a kind of an awareness, you may wake up and feel like, oh my gosh, I have absolutely gone backwards because I feel so crappy today. Oftentimes, as we're processing, as we're going through this, and this is why also it's important to listen to the replays, because as we're dissolving those structures and we're processing through, then more of them begin to unravel and to come undone. but those pieces and parts and particles. So for example, let's say you're 5 years old and something happens and a part of you gets fractured off. So as we begin to clear and as we begin to step into the fullness of who we are, that compartmentalized 5-year-old can be uncompartmentalized, and then it's like we're this small child again, and it can bring up old wounds, just so that you know. It can bring up other lifetime memories, because those are also parts of us that can be shattered off, can be compartmentalized off. It can bring up any age. So, and one of the things that happens is is that in these fractures we can clear and clear and clear and clear and clear, but unless we're also choosing to reintegrate these fractures, and I'll show you how, then we are not. When those walls come down, when those structures come down, or we hit a tonal frequency, a harmonic, where that shattering happened, we're immediately transported back to that wounded child. We're immediately compartmentalized back to that part that has fractured off. Does that make sense at all? Any questions before we move forward? Because this is kind of a big subject, and I think most of you that are here are pretty intelligent and know, or have some idea of this already. So raise your hand if you have. Let's see. Also got more people that have come on. Let me allow these people to talk as well. I've got a hand raised. Michelle?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Michelle, did you have a question? Canada, Michelle?
And phone number starting with 206 is unmuted. Did you wish to speak, or is that not intentional?
Okay, I don't think that one's.
Oh, is it me? I just got
Yeah.
on the call. I'm not even sure what we're talking about. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just going to mute you then. I think I accidentally unmuted you. Michelle, you are unmuted. There we go. You may not have your speaker up so that you can talk, or if you're on a headset, you might be muted on whatever device you're on. Okay. So I'm gonna allow to talk. There we go. Michelle?
I think I'm okay.
There you go. Okay, I'm gonna mute you then.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Did you have a question?
Oh, hi, Michelle. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure how to unmute myself.
That's okay. I hadn't unmuted you, so that's my fault. Go ahead.
I guess I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. These fractures that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
they started likely 37 years ago when my dad died.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom died 25 years ago, and my husband cheated on me while my mom was dying.
I'm
And
sorry.
I've been carrying all of this stuff for that long. I'm an only child, so my parents were my world.
Right.
And I'm 62, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm still struggling, Michelle.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna begin to retrieve some of those pieces today. Is that okay?
Is it? Yeah, as long as I don't go backwards and start being depressed again. That's what I'm scared of.
And I can understand the fear of that because it's like I don't want to go back there. I just don't want to go back there. Right.
I'm scared of the grief again, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
yeah.
it's still with me though, so I guess it doesn't really.
So what if this is an opportunity to begin to heal that grief and to heal the betrayal?
I'd love it desperately.
Okay. So let's see where we go today. We've still got 3 days together, and
Okay.
yeah, let's just begin this healing process because it feels like you're not the only one. Okay.
Sounds like there's a lot of people in the same type of position.
I think there are. I think there
Thank
are.
you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thanks for bringing this up. So everything that has brought up for everybody else too. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. This is huge. This is huge. And before the call, we were talking about, somebody had asked me, when you say, whoa, or holy cow, or holy shit, or whatever that is, what is it that you're experiencing? And so as you know, a full empath, I feel everything that everybody's feeling, not just on this call, but people who are listening to the call in the future. So the information coming in, I'm receiving my own information, but I'm also receiving information that everybody in the group and everybody in the future that's listening to this is also receiving. So it's kind of a pile of information that's like, whoa, that's big. So just so that you know, what you may be feeling may not be huge, but everybody, and yeah. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. A says, this happens to me on a daily basis, that soul retrieval triggered by memories. Yeah. Okay. So everywhere, so drop inside. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Everything that this has already brought up, you choose to destroy and uncreate all of this. So there we go. And yes, I choose to destroy and uncreate all of this now. Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all the fear, all the uncertainty about, oh, am I going to be able to handle this? And everything else that this has brought up. Let's just clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize this now back to and through each of its source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources so it never existed ever. So you can, when you are dealing with fractures, it's like you feel like you've lost yourself and can't get back. You get triggered over and over again. You may feel like you're clearing and clearing, but things just keep coming back. You end up stuck in a victim space often. You can feel like you're trapped in the past and you can't get out of it. You may feel like you've slipped backwards into unconsciousness, like nothing's ever changed. You can feel really helpless and discouraged and irritable. So, and there's all kinds of things that happen. So what does you, the infinite being and the infinite planet, know to be all of the fractures and pieces, parts, and particles, anything that may be altered, that is up, that's active, or capable of resolution? And just receive that information. And as you receive it, just send it into the containment field so that it can be contained. And what is everything that prevents knowing or awareness that we can destroy and uncreate? And let's just send all that in the pile. Wow. And what does our infinite body, being, and planet know to be everything that has created separation between our body and our being and any of these authentic fractures? Receive that information. Let's just put that in the pile. And everything that is, what's everything unseeable, unspeakable, unknowable, untouchable, and yeah, there we go. Everything hidden, hiding, buried, covered up, masquerading, disguised, left behind, forgotten, ignored, or denied. Everything that looks good but really isn't. What are all the personality imprinting, identity imprinting, retemplating, or disguised memory implants that you and all of your layers, levels, patterns, and pieces, all the pieces and particles, all the fractures here? What's everything below that, and below that, and below that? And do you choose now to destroy and uncreate all of that? Yeah, I choose that too. Let's retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, uncreate, retroactively make null and void all of these imprintings. Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now out of existence so it never existed ever. And say, body not yours, body not you, body not yours, body not you, body not yours. Being not you, being not yours. being not you, being not yours, planet not you, planet not yours. Out, out, out. Vaporize, liquefy. So what are all the creation points or modification points that created these fractures? What are all the decision points that led to these creation and modification points? What is everything that helped create these splinters, these fractures, these shattered pieces? Whoa. Yeah, that's a lot of information. And let's just put all that in the pile. Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now out of existence, so none of it existed to begin with. And I want you to ask yourself this. Who does this belong to? Does it belong to you, someone else, or something else? And anything that belongs to someone or something else, let's put all of that in the pile. Let's just clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now back to and through each of its source and or sources. Purify the source and or sources so it never existed ever. Rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, uncreate, retroactively make null and void all of that. All of our connections, all of our attachments, all the vows, contracts, commitments, agreements, addictions, alignments, alliances, loyalties, oaths, promises, covenants, vengeances, vendettas, secrets, magics, dark and black secrets, dark and black magics, everything that we have agreed to take on of someone or something else's, anything that doesn't belong to us, we're just going to, whether we've taken it consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, anti-consciously, under manipulation, trickery, or deceit, out of a sense of doing the right thing, send it out, clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize it out of existence. There we go. So anything that is authentically belonging to you, any of these pieces, parts, and particles that are actually you, we're going to begin calling them forward, and we're going to line them up in front of you. We're going to freeze it all. We're going to do something with it in just a few minutes. But anything that is authentically a piece, part, particle, a tetrahedron, all the way down to a little teeny Planck unit, we're going to bring those forward and bring them so that we can make sure that they're washed, cleared, cleansed, ready to be returned and replaced. There we go. And so what is everything that's holding these fractures and containments, all these little pieces, parts, and particles, what's everything holding them open and active? Across all realms, across all fractures, all relationships, timelines, universes, planets, simulations, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality worlds, everything detected, undetected, seen, unseen, known, unknown. Whoa, what are all the entities, demonics, creatures, coalitions, aliens, the coalition, federation, and amalgamation aliens, all the reptilians, all of the insectoids, all the hybrids, the parasitics, the beings, doings, havings, gods, demigods, semigods, light and dark force angels, light and dark force beings, all the false light, everything that looks good but really isn't, all the other non-contributive energies that are here, that are interconnected and intertangled into any of our fractures, realities, levels, layers, depths, systems, and containments. Just pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all of that, trace, track, scan them all ID, freeze and tie down all of this. Where were we, the infinite being, at their creation, assembly, gilding, sourcing, inception, insertion, their modification, copying, cloning, any other? Anything like that in all languages? Pre-tag, pre-scan, pre-encapsulate all of that at all points. Invert or uninvert to your local benefit and advantage. And what are all of their networks, hives, civilizations, realities, universes, and hierarchies here? Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate them all, freeze, tap down. And who or what are all of the remaining hidden, hiding, buried, covered up, masquerading, disguised, left behind, forgotten, ignored, or denied, everything that looks good but really isn't, everything sleeping, cloaked, not active, not currently accessible, anything yet to be identified or created? That is a lot of stuff. Again, pre-scan, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate at all points, and freeze, tap down. What's everything that we said and agreed we would do for them? Wow, Wow. Everything they said and agreed they would do for us? Holy mackerel. What was everything that was the benefit or value of having them? What's everything that was not the benefit or value of having them? Let's retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, uncreate, retroactively make null and void. Do you choose to do that now? Yes, I choose that. Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now back to and through each of its source and or sources. Purify the source and or sources so none of that ever existed to begin with. And just say, banish, vanquish, out, 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 banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Out of all of our universes, all of our planets, all simulations, all virtual reality worlds, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish. So what are all of the structures and any other pieces, parts, and particles that are coming forward still? Bring them forward. Again, put them in a separate containment field out in front of you so that they can be worked with in just a minute. What are all the structures, constructs, adaptations, mutations, all of the systems, stacks, stringers, implants, hooks, triggers, walls, ceilings, floors, foundations, all of the other utilities and traveling systems that are remaining that have encapsulated, it's like this, I always picture it like this huge maze, this labyrinth, universal sized labyrinth where all these little pieces and parts of us have been stored, and we've kind of locked them away for safekeeping. So what are all of those structures, the constructs, the adaptations, mutations, systems, stacks, stringers, implants, hooks, triggers, walls, ceilings, floors, foundations, and all utilities and traveling systems remaining? Whoa. You guys are good. You guys are brilliant at doing this. This is awesome. I choose to destroy and uncreate all of that now. What about you? Do you choose to destroy and uncreate this too? Yes, I choose that. Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of these structures now back to and through each of its source and or sources so that they never existed ever. Whoa. Whoa. Holy cow. And so let's invite any other pieces, parts, and particles of our authentic, inalienable fractures, alters, fragments. Let's bring them all out in front of you here to receive the gifting that you are, to receive all the knowledge, wisdom, understanding that you have, to receive the gifts and talents that you are. There you go. And everywhere that all of those structures were, we want to expand your body and being to bigger, out through everything that used to be there, everything behind you, everything below you, everything above, to the left, to the right, everything out in front, everything inside, outside, right side up, upside down, everything inverted and uninverted. Expand, 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 bigger than the planet. Expand out bigger than the solar system. Expand out again, bigger than the universe. 360 degrees, like you're in a bubble. Expand out bigger than the multiverse. Expand out bigger than beyond the verse. Expand out bigger than the infinite realms. There you go. Wow, that's amazing. And so what is everything then that these authentic pieces, parts, and particles of you desire or require? Put your hand on your heart and just receive that information. And everything that they need, they want, they desire, or require, let's just gift that to them. As the infinite being that we are, let's gift these little parts of ourselves all of the love, all the comfort, the understanding, compassion, all the income, all the empowerment, all the joy, whatever they need. Just continue to receive and gift everything that part, especially during the time that it was fractured off, everything that it needed. Just give that part of your beingness everything it wanted, it needed, it desired, and required. All the love and the support. All of the resources, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial resources it needs. And then let's ask these energies to amplify themselves times a funzillion. I love that term, funzillion. And then frequency match themselves to each of our local advantages. And then provide that to your authentic fractures, those authentic, inalienable parts of you. Those pieces, parts, particles, shards, tetrahedrons, the essences, overlaps, overlays. There you go. And then what is everything that your authentic body and being desires and requires? Amplify that. Again, all of the resources, all of the good stuff. Emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, financial resources. Joy, well-being, comfort, radiant vitality, love, understanding, compassion, support, peace, strength. Just being held. And let's amplify and frequency match that and receive. And let's times that by a funzillion. Frequency match and receive. And let's find some more receiving frequencies. Let's find all of the contentment. Let's send each of these fractures bliss, enjoyment, joy, optimism, pleasure, peace of mind, prosperity, well-being. Let's include and frequency match that confidence, self-confidence, trust, certainty that everything is going to be okay. Let's bring in fun, more pleasure, relaxation, satisfaction, zest and joy for living, more comfort, more nurturing and nurturance, gratification, relief. There we go. That warmth, well-beingness, a sense of peacefulness and plenty. And then let's provide that all to all the pieces, parts, and particles of you and to your body and being and the planet. And then let's amplify and frequency match that. Again, times 1,000,000,000. And receive. Put your hand on your heart and just receive. And then repeat after me out loud. I reclaim all of my authentic being and body's fractures. All of my pieces, parts, and particles. There we go. And before we download them, let's make sure they are washed, cleared, cleansed, ready to be returned and replaced. Any monitoring, listening, tracking, any kind of devices, anyone or anything else's frequencies are cleared out of existence, so that all there is you. And before you bring them in, I want you to picture what I call, and Jaden also calls, an inalienable screen. Anything that is not your authentic body and being, as these pieces, parts, and particles come through, is just immediately caught. Just in case something looks good but really isn't. So bring all of those pieces, parts, and particles of you back in. Bring them in through your solar plexus, through your heart, through your beingness. Make sure they're delivered, and we're going to ask that they be returned in their true and rightful order. There we go. And we're going to do what I call a reverse Humpty Dumpty, because Humpty couldn't be put back together again, but we can. So reverse Humpty Dumpty, and then blend and merge, so that there's nothing but wholeness and completeness. And everything else gets sent out, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. And what were all of the containers? Wernicke's commands, booby traps, time bombs, programs, systems, agreements, divine, golden, million, billion, trillion, infinite year agreements, all the entry and exit agreements, all the safety clauses and protection clauses, all of the anchors and signatories that were part of these across all realms, fractures, relationships, timelines, universes, planets, simulations, AI and VR worlds, everything detected and undetected, known and unknown, seen and unseen. Do you choose to destroy and uncreate all of that? Yes, I do. I choose that too. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, uncreate, retroactively make null and void. All of this, clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of this now back to and through each of its source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources so it never existed, ever. There we go. And what are all the vows, contracts, commitments, agreements, addictions, alignments, alliances, loyalties, oaths, promises, covenants, vengeances, vendettas, secrets, magics, dark and black secrets, dark and black magics, all of the allegiances, diplomatic relations, all the binds, double binds, triple binds, quadruple binds, binds to infinity and back, all of the installs, auto installs, auto reinstalls, auto backups, backups and backups of backups, and auto re-backups, the copies of copies of copies of copies, all the re-copies, everything like that, all the technologies, nanotechnologies, pico technologies, dark and black meta technologies, all the magics and signatories here across all realms, fractures, relationships, timelines, universes, planets, AI and VI worlds and simulations, everything detected and undetected, seen and unseen, known and unknown. And what is all of the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, consciousness, subconsciousness, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, all of the energy fog, the misinformation, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, time bombs, everything covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies present here. Seek, find, gather, and bind all of that, and then clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now back to and through each of its source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources so none of it existed ever. Take a breath in and be. And so just as kind of a wrap up here for this process, this particular process, where is everything that you've decided that now is not great enough to be fully here and now? And receive that information, just stick it in the file. Where's every when and where that you have decided that now is not great enough to be fully here and now? And where is everywhere that you're looking for something better than right now? Let's put all that in the pile. And what is everything that's keeping you from being amazing and magical and fully present right here and right now? And let's clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now back to and through each of its source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources so none of it existed ever. Woo! Love this. Love, 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 love this. So, how are you guys doing? Questions?
Someone wrote in with a question, and Michelle has her hand raised, which may be a new hand raise, and then I have a question. But the first question that came in was, while you were doing the clearing, what does body not you, body not yours refer to?
So our body has its own intelligence, and oftentimes it will take on these energies and frequencies, and it believes that whatever that is theirs. And so when you're telling your body, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, it's telling your body, just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Whew. Just out, 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 banish and vanquish it, clear it. When you banish it, clear it out from all universes, all realms, throughout the multiverse, beyond the verse, and out through all the infinite realms. Just clear it out of existence so it never existed ever. Does that help? And then
Michelle unraised her hand. So
oh, okay.
it had been left over from before.
I'm back.
Oh, okay, you're back. Okay.
I'm back. I feel my body feels extremely, extremely heavy right now, but very hugged right now.
Oh, interesting.
Like I feel like a lead weight, but I feel like there's lots of arms around me hugging me.
So anything that's that lead weight, any of that heaviness, so let me ask you a question. Is that you? Is that you in your body, or is that someone or something else?
I think it's me. It feels like me. I just
Okay.
feel really heavy. But I feel like there's a lot of arms around me hugging me tight.
So is that heaviness or is that groundedness? Is that being held?
Might be groundedness.
Oh.
Ooh.
So anything that may be residual, that may feel heavy or residual, that isn't authentically Michelle or any of the rest of you listening, let's just do you give permission to destroy and uncreate all of this?
Yes.
I choose that. Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize all of that now back to and through each of its source and or sources. Purify the source and or sources so that never existed ever. Some of that heaviness gone?
Starting to. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you feel that peacefulness coming in?
Sincerely. Yes.
Isn't that
Deep.
amazing?
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Yay! I love this.
I'll be quiet now. Maybe somebody else wants to
Thank
speak.
you. I appreciate this. Anybody else? Questions, experiences you want to share with the group? Robin, you had something too.
This was my question. Yeah, and I realized as you were doing the clearings that a part of me sits up when you say, to your local advantage, and says, but it's not all about you.
So is that you, or is that someone or something else?
No, as we talked about earlier, it's about the greater good. It's
Yeah.
not just my local advantage. So you have a thought about that?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. And we're going to work on points of view tomorrow as well. So everything where we are unwilling, unable, have been entrained away from having things to our local advantage, because we can do things for our local advantage as well. Anything for the greater good also has to be to our local advantage. Otherwise,
So we're not playing a zero-sum game here. It's for my
no.
good and everyone else's as well.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
That I can sit with.
Yeah.
And Robert says depends on what you mean by local.
Right here in this body right now. Yeah. This time, this place, this space, this reality, this dimension, this lifetime, this existence, this body, this being. And because, here's the other piece of that, because you are part of the greater good, all of humanity, it has to be to your local advantage first. You cannot be separated, or if you're talking about the greater good, oh, it's got to be for the greater good. It has to be for your greater good first or inclusively. Otherwise, it can't be for everybody else. Just a thought. So, anyone else? How's everybody feeling? I'd like to hear. Anyone? Don't be shy. Or are you just feeling good and don't want to participate? Going once, going twice. I think we're going to release for today. We've got a question. Depends on what you mean by local. Did anyone get the license of that truck? As long as that truck just delivered everything we ever wanted, I'm good with that. Yeah. April, you have done a profound amount of work. Most people don't do this much work in a lifetime. Take that in. Most people don't do this most people don't do this much work in a lifetime. This is the fast track to being all of who you are. This is the fast track for ways to get to stuff you haven't been able to get to before. So yes, you've done a profound amount of work today. And I want to congratulate you for being willing to step up and to do it. Because as you do that transformational work, as you do that healing work, it also opens up the possibility and the potential for all of humanity to do this as well. Can you imagine what everybody being in this frequency right here, right now? Can you imagine what this world would be like? This is huge. So thank you. Thank you for being the amazing creator beings that you are. And thank you for participating in this. I will get this up onto YouTube ASAP. And I just got a message from Jessica, and she said she's getting the emails out. So you'll get them. Yay! Love you all. Take care. And don't forget to go to YouTube. Take care. Bye-bye. Love you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're amazing too. Thank you, Enid. Bye-bye, everyone.